Hello, good afternoon.
Good
We'll
afternoon. Good
continue
afternoon, sir.
because we have to prove actually there are 6 to 7 problem which is required to be proved to be NP complete. Uh, so I already told you that Saturday I'll be available. Again, it's a voluntarily. I'll be available every Saturday, maybe from 9 to 10. Uh, if you are during the vacation period, we may not decide for those 10 days. But tomorrow I'll be available. At least we'll try to one or maybe two theorem to be completed, uh, which will be we'll try to simplify the things so that things will be easy. Let us start with I think number of times we discussed about this NP complete problem, but the proof which is critical because again I'll go back to my old statements like that. Uh, I have something pride because we are with computer science. So there are something new what we can do to any problem, maybe any type of work or any research problem or real world problem. Sometimes people talk about applying machine learning to a problem domain. But the question is that if it is asked what type of problem you are doing, whether it is NP complete or NP hard, so you'll be finding some answer to that. So we explained number of times when we tried to prove that we have did something good. We try to say that I am trying to find out a solution to a NP complete problem and NP hard problem. Just I want to rephrase you. When you will be asked to prove, when you will be asked to prove the problem belongs to NP. So the first argument comes if you do not have a known polynomial time algorithm, then the problem belongs to NP. That's all. So proving that a problem belongs to NP, it just comes when you fail to do say that when you are going to say that the problem is belongs to NP. So you are landing into this blue area. But only one argument, the problem belongs to NP, not to NP complete, not to NP hard. That is the approach we can use. Uh, we'll go back to just to replace you. When we try to prove a problem to be NP complete, today's agenda is to prove the traveling salesperson problem is NP complete. In particular, we are talking of a Euclidean traveling salesman problem. I'll just go back to the basic steps how we argue that a problem to be NP complete, though we have discussed number of times. Again, I want to just refresh the few slides. Then I'll be continuing with that. So this always comes, though I start with that, why we should discuss on NP complete. If a problem proved to be NP complete, the good evidence for intractability or hardness, we can get a compliment that we are going to solve a problem which is a bit of tough or bit of challenging. So that is the single line we can say the. So no waste of time on the find efficient algorithm for it. We'll try to find out a suboptimal solution. Instead, focus on design a approximate algorithm. We talk about approximation algorithm. Of course, we have a few things are left still in approximation algorithm. In particular, always we'll take this traveling salesman and we'll try to design approximation algorithm, which I have not discussed. So instead focus to design approximation algorithm. So some problem looks to be very easy on the surface, but in fact it belongs to NP hard. It belongs to hard. Hard means this again fall into that intersection region, which is NP complete. This is the repetition we repeated many times when we try to prove or a theorem is asked to prove that a problem is NP complete. So step number of one is that so that the given problem in NP given problem in NP. So what I mean to say that we do not have any polynomial time or any known polynomial time to find out the solution to that problem. So immediately if we say there is no polynomial time, then we say that this problem belongs to NP. Okay, so then select a known NP complete problem. Let the problem will be V. So how that is to be selected for your exam point of view or proving when we ask for the TSP, this is defined. Whenever you follow a book, if they have taken in Hamiltonian circuit is NP complete, so we start with Hamiltonian circuit to be NP complete. Then the step number 3 is the actual contribution, where we try to transform the existing NP complete problem to the new problem. So transformation of process is nothing but the reduction, and the transformation process, or that is actually algorithm which transforms, or you can say the typical word we use as a reduction, that reduces from V to U. It's an algorithm, and that particular algorithm must be polynomial bound. Then in step number 4 we saw that this reduction process requires polynomial time. Okay, and so we'll be strictly following this step to prove that TSP is NP complete. And there are the two choices always you keep. One is 0-1 knapsack problem, another in TSP. Use these two problems as the reference problem. I think I have shared the problem statement of the TSP. Similarly, you have the problem statement for 0-1 knapsack problem. What I suggest, you prepare a separate note or somewhere you write problem statement, and just following that you write the solution space. What will be how you are finding the solution space is large. What I mean to say, for a 0-1 knapsack problem, you can argue it will be 2 to the power of n, right? Similarly, you can argue for traveling salesman person problem, and then next part is comes you are proving those two problem to be NP complete. Okay, and this is one slide again I try to replace that what should be a designer's approach to the NP complete problem. Again it is a repetition. So that is either of the choice is if you can use for dynamic programming, you may have a solution in backtracking, branch and bound, but they are time complexity is too high. Time complexity is too high. So for a large problem, it will be very difficult to solve with a dynamic programming or backtracking or branch and bound, because backtracking and branch and bound is almost try to visit all the possible solution space. The same thing as the dynamic programming, because those all possible states are arranged as a multi-stage graph in dynamic programming. Second approach, find the sub problem of the original problem that have a polynomial time solution, that we always try to do. I start with a NCT problem, but I can explain that there is a polynomial time algorithm for a 5 CT traveling salesperson problem. Okay, so next category is approximation algorithm. So two things you must cover, please note it. Two things you must cover. You may be asked to define a 0-1 knapsack problem. Then you will be asked to prove that 0-1 knapsack problem is NP complete. Followed by that, you have to write down approximation algorithm as well as a randomized algorithm for 0-1 knapsack problem. So typically these two cases you must prepare, and that is going to help you maybe in any interview. Anytime people ask that what is the process and what are the different solutions, use these two examples. Okay, so so second, I'm the last one. We can go for any greedy heuristic method. Greedy is the simplest heuristic. Then you can go for any nature inspired simulated annealing genetic algorithm. That is the reason we have taken genetic algorithm. Maybe you can say the whole course, if you look into post-graduation level, this is confined into this one slide. Okay, that means we are typically discussing a problem solving approach, and the problems are in NP complete problem. So this single slide, what you are finding, you can say this is the summarization of the course. We treat approximation, we go for randomization. Of course, we look into two other aspects, that is correctness and lower bound. Then we have heuristic, and this is an endless process. Heuristic is an endless process. Okay. Then when we look into the type of reduction, because the type of reduction, that is the step number 3, that let M be the known NP complete problem. Then what are the different type of reduction? So this is broadly divided into 3 category. That is by restriction, by local replacement, by component design. These are the 3 approaches, and for this we need to write algorithm. But sorry to say, nowhere you will be finding that a particular algorithm is written where they're transforming a known NP complete problem to your problem. But that is a good thing. If it is not mentioned, sometimes let us say you try to look into a controller placement problem in a wireless sensor network or a vehicular ADAC network, or maybe positioning of the different base stations, or maybe you are working on a underwater sensor network. So for this type of problem, if you do these proofs, then I mean sometimes you can have a good contribution to that, because in a typical thesis it is not found and people are not writing. So let M be the known NP complete problem. Then in first step we say there is a reduction in step number 3, but we are side and that particular reduction process of 3 type. So by restriction, nothing, that known NP complete problem is a special case of our problem. Just apply certain restriction, that so that because your new problem is a special case. That means, sorry, I mean you have taken a known NP complete problem M, and your problem is L. So this line says with a restriction, you know that NP complete problem is a special case of our problem, right? Original problem will be restricted, and that takes the shape of the known NP complete problem. Again, I repeat, original problem will be restricted. Let us say you start with a graph. Okay, and the graph is a weighted graph, and you have already a problem which is proved to be NP complete, which is a non-weighted graph, or let us say a graph without any weight. And if you say the graph I can represent removing the weight, and the removing the weight, the graph is M say, and that is an NP complete, so hence the L is NP complete. Or you have defined something a directed graph. L is the problem for, let us say, finding a tour in the directed graph. Then M is already proved to be undirected graph. Then with a certain assumption you can reduce on the L to M. So that proves the NP completeness. Okay, and then the second approach is local replacement, dividing instances of M and L into basic unit. So when you look into a particular graph, how the instance will come, you are attaching, let us say, weight to different edges, then you can have two cases, or many inputs will supply, you will have a many cases. Just like you try to sort n number of element, one instance is all elements are equal, another instances is there in increasing order or decreasing order or randomly placed, or you can say array with some majority element or same element is repeated. So these are the instances. So dividing instances of M and L into basic unit or representation, then show that how each basic unit of M can be locally converted to the basic unit of L. That is the representation of L. That means you have taken one case, special case of M, say that it maps to another special case of L. Then you take one special case of M, again you map to the, I mean, second special case of M, then map to the second special case of L. That is called the local replacement. Then component design, building the component for an instance of L that will enforce the important structural function for instances of M. So mostly this will be typically for graph algorithms, it will be helpful. And when you have certain property, like let us say in terms of a cycle, in terms of a uh, age with negative weight, this type of properties can come into the picture. So with these basics, we'll discuss the simple problem that I'll be starting with This will be seems to be very simple, so I want to take this as a first. So TSP problem is NP complete. Okay, so the problem is well defined, and you can write down the problem statement in terms of the objective function. Okay, so there is a binary variable xij which says if you are selecting a h as the tour, that will be 1, otherwise that xij will be 0. So I have uploaded that PDF document merging three papers, so you can take the problem statement from that. Okay, so again, defining a salesperson must visit n cities because the graph contains n number of cities where every city is connected to other cities. There is a positive cost involved in the visiting. That means if I am going to add the cost of all the ages, so it will be added to find out the cost of the tour. The salesperson must visit each city exactly once. This is the first constant or the restriction imposed, exactly once. So the salesperson must visit exactly once, and the problem is to determine whether there is a tour of length at most k or not. Okay, so when you look into that, the problem is to determine whether there is a tour of length at most k or at most k. That means we are talking of a verification also. If a problem is given and you ask to verify the solution in polynomial time, a set of a set of visiting sequence is given and you ask to check whether if you are visiting this sequence, first thing this will be a TSP tour or not. Second, if it is a TSP tour, then whether that is of length of k, exactly k. Okay, so this line, if will enforce the last line, you can say this is another way to prove the TSP to be NP complete, because I do not have a polynomial time algorithm, but the solution can be verified in polynomial time. Now we go back to those 4 steps. First, we saw that TSP in NP. That means why TSP in NP? So what is the solution space? If you remember, can you say why TSP in NP? What are the possible solutions for a graph? So what is that value? N factorial. What is the sequence? What is the sequence? Why not we say it's a polynomial? Here we have not mentioned that specifically. For NCT, what are the possible solutions? Let us say we are going for a fully connected graph. What are the different solutions? Yes. What are the different solutions if we'll go for a fully connected graph? Can anybody respond? Hello. If we have a fully connected graph, what are the different solutions?
Sir, if we have n cities
Hmm.
and we
I
have
am
to start
asking,
from one,
yes, I am asking solution space of TSP. Okay.
so n minus 1
Suppose,
factorial,
yes,
n minus 1 factorial.
you are going back to that city, it will be n minus 1 factorial. Okay, even if it is minus 1 factorial, you can argue that is to be n factorial, right?
Yes, sir.
That means if I need to find out the best solution, I need to examine n factorial choices or the tours. So here you see here when I say the TSP is in NP, you can also write like this, because it is no way you are going to find out a solution for traveling my salesman problem in polynomial time. Polynomial time means either it will be n square, n cube, or n, because it is not exactly we don't have any definition that which one is higher polynomial or lower polynomial. So maybe you can go for up to n square or n cube. It is not possible. So we immediately say this is in NP. So we check the sequence contains exactly each vertex exactly once the sum of the cost of the edge and the neck where sum is at most k. Now here this line we text as the advantage. This we take the advantage. Okay, this line we take as the advantage, because when we try to prove the problem, that the problem can be verifiable, the same k value we are taking. That means it says, suppose you can suggest a algorithm. So given a sequence, so we check that this sequence, given the sequence, contains each vertex exactly once, and sum up this cost of the edge to check whether the sum is at most k or not. Already you told that this particular set or all possible set is n factorial, and I have to check all the n factorial permutation of the CTs to find it out, that whether, if you'll add the edge cost, if all are to say, whether that is at most k or not. So that is possible if I'll examine all the alternatives, that is n factorial. So that implies the TSP is in NP. Okay, any clarification or any other argument? So this, so by simply writing like this means that n factorial can be verified in n factorial time, which is not a polynomial, hence this is belongs to NP. Now, why the Hamiltonian cycle is selected? That's a thumb rule. This author or this book which try to select Hamiltonian cycle, but you can select any other existing NP complete problem uh, to prove the TSP to be NP complete. You are welcome. Somebody say I try to prove by selecting circuit satisfiability problem as NP complete, and I'll go apply the reduction. So that also accepted. So here we assume X problem, here it is a Hamiltonian cycle problem, which is known to be NP complete. Okay, and then try to reduce to TSP. Okay, now we'll come to the reduction step. So typically, if you'll come to a reduction step, let the graph is represented with set of vertex and edges be an instance of Hamiltonian cycle problem. Be a instances of an Hamiltonian cycle problem. That means if you are looking into a graph, be a instances of Hamiltonian cycle problem means there may be many Hamiltonian cycle for a graph, but you are looking into a particular one of them. Be a instances of the Hamiltonian cycle uh, problem, and here if you look into that, and if you'll find these are the connecting edges, the dotted line also edges of a given graph, this is not the only Hamiltonian cycle. You can find other Hamiltonian cycle also by changing the alternate or by changing the orders. Okay, so you can find other Hamiltonian cycle also. So just to remember that for a graph we have many Hamiltonian cycle. We have many Hamiltonian cycle. So we select a instance of an Hamiltonian cycle problem, right? So we select, so given a graph with 5 vertex. So this is the instance of Hamiltonian cycle problem. That means if I am starting from a CTA, maybe from A I am going to C, from C I am going to D, from D I am going to B, and again, or you may be simply coming like this, the outer one, A, B, E, D, C. So this is a tour, and you are visiting the vertex only once and you come back to the starting CTA. So this is one of the instances. So by looking into a graph, you can have many instances or many Hamiltonian cycle. Any one can be taken for the proof. Right, and when we proceed with any of the instances, the arguments are like this. So this is a particular Hamiltonian cycle. Maybe this is just showing an instance where you have a cycle. Okay, now when you look into, then we are going for another notation, GC. So GC here, what we try to add, we are using another edge set. You see, vertex remains same. We have a new edge set E1 and we are going to add weight to that. So we call the GC is the weighted graph, where E1, the set E1 represents the vertex. I mean the E1 is the set of edges that connects to any arbitrary vertex Vi and Vj. Okay, just connect to arbitrary vertex. You can say Ij, or you may change the notation to call it at Vi and Vj, and that belongs to V. So this try to include the edges, and W is the weight. And this age cost function W is defined like this. Here we are only looking into binary value because we have all age sets. If the age which you am including, if it belongs to the previous graph G or age set, then it will be 0. And if we are including a new age, that will be 1. If you look into this graph, this is already there, this is already there, this is all these edges are already there. So these all will be labeled 0. This all will be labeled 0. Suppose I connect the edge from C to B, it will be labeled as 1. If I connect the edge from A to D, it will be 1. Similarly, suppose I am connecting a edge from A to E, this will be 1. I am connecting another edge from E to C, that will be 1. Because here 0, if it the weight is weight, I mean this is weight of the uh, vertex connecting I to J will be 0. If that particular pair of vertices, I mean the edge belongs to E, because this is the graph, and when the edge is not belongs to E, initially the edge set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are there are 6 edges are there. Other than that, any edge I try to draw, it will attract 1. So this is very simple. You see, the edge which is already there is labeled with 0. Okay, and these 6 edges are labeled with 0. So any other edge we try to connect, so that will be labeled as 1. Now, the instance of the TSP is then the instance of a TSP. One of the cases is that GC0 has shown that the graph G has a Hamiltonian cycle. G has a Hamiltonian cycle, which was the graph G. Initially the graph, we have taken a case of Hamiltonian cycle. So we shown that the graph G has a Hamiltonian cycle if and only if the graph GC has a tour of cost at most 0. So cost at most 0. That means we label it 0. Suppose I start a tour from A, I am going to B, then I am going to E, then I am going to D, then I am coming to C. So all edges are labeled the course with, with the cost 0. So that tour is cost is at most 0. Now the argument, first suppose that G has a Hamiltonian cycle C. Let us say G has a Hamiltonian cycle, graph has a Hamiltonian cycle. Each edge of the C belongs to the edge set E, because the graph is represented with set of vertices and set of the edges. Thus, has the cost 0 in GC? That means if you are looking into the new graph, so the C is also a tour in GC with cost 0. Initially graph was G. Initially graph was G. The new graph is GC. The new graph is GC. So when you are going to find out a Hamiltonian in G, you are finding the same Hamiltonian, though C is also a tour in GC, because with that path also you are visiting all the vertices. Okay, with cost 0. And if you try to take any other path, let us say with edge connected, maybe this one is added, we will be getting a tour with which cost is more than 0. Okay, so what is the argument? So each edge in the C belongs to the E, and thus has the cost 0 in GC. That is the new derived graph what we got. So C is a tour of the GC with cost 0. So there are a few more lines which we try to see. What we try to do, we are working on step number 3. We try to reduce that, and we take a Hamiltonian cycle, but we try to transform that Hamiltonian cycle to an arbitrary graph with the weights. Okay, conversely, suppose that the graph GC has a tour C1. So GC has a tour C1, that is other than C. So you have a tour C1 whose cost is almost 0. Let us assume that we have got a, because this graph has got additional edges, so we have a new tour C1 say, but the cost is at most 0. Since the cost of edges in E1, that means the new edge set in previously in set E, all edge costs are 0. But in the E1, E1 includes all the edges of E as well as the new edges whose cost is 1. So the edges in E1 are 0 and 1. Then the cost of the tour C1 is exactly 0. The, the C1 is exactly 0. Exactly 0 means what? It is not going to take those edges with 1. Therefore, C1 contains only the edges belongs to E, obviously. You have taken another tour C1 and argued that C1 tour is 0. And E1 contains additional edges which additional edges including the set E, and all the edges in E are 0, additional edges are cost 1. But C1, if C1 is a tour that is has exactly 0, then C1 contains only edges of the E. That means if we try to find out an alternative cycle, a tour or cycle, then again we are finding the tour which is a Hamiltonian cycle. We find there we have taken a Hamiltonian cycle. Now we have a generalized graph. There also we are finding the Hamiltonian cycle. So that is the process. And moreover, you can say where we have proved this possible in polynomial time. Fine, because when we talk about vertex and edges, and when n is fixed and number of edge is fixed, as per the graph representation, it has to be solved or represented, or you can be read or write into all are in polynomial time, because I am using a matrix to represent the graph. So step number 4, that is the proof. The above reduction can be carried out polynomial time. Because why it is a polynomial time? It will be, if I am going for adjacency matrix, it will be n square in the worst case. So that is the polynomial time, n square, lower power. So that's why we argue that the above reduction can be carried out in polynomial time, hence it's NP complete. So this is a simple example of proving, and out of all the proofs, I think this is the easiest one, what I say. And if you'll go to the circuit satisfiability and others, it will be difficult. If you remember, we have also discussed the vertex cover to be NP complete. And when we try to discuss the vertex cover to be NP complete, first we need to define a vertex cover problem. And after defining the vertex cover problem, we go for the argument. That is the instance of a problem is nothing but the input to a given problem. Similarly, we select another problem. What is the other way to do? Here you see, other way to prove the problem to be NP complete, this thing I have already told, again I am repeating. So first one, the proof that the vertex cover is NP. So that can be proved very easily when you say all possible solutions will be n factorial or 2 to the power n. So it is being done. The vertex cover is in NP. Second, you see what the second step, instead of performing that step number 2, 3, 4, what I have discussed from the beginning, it directly jump into that to prove that it is NP hard. I repeat again, I try to prove the problem to be NP complete. Earlier I told there are a 4-step process, and in step 1 actually we characterize the solution to the problem, and there we first argument comes whether it will be NP complete or not. And second, instead of going through step number 2, 3, 4, we try to prove one thing. Proof of the vertex cover is NP hard. And I think we have discussed one of the cases how to prove the complexities to be NP hard. Why you prove the problem to be in NP. That means the green area. Now, if you prove the problem is belongs to NP hard, then RJ belongs to green, RJ belongs to this shaded area. Definitely the problem is NP complete. So this is, you can say, another approach. Either you are going for a 4-step process, or you are proving the problem to be NP, then you try to prove the problem to be NP hard. So you can use either of this approach. Okay, either of this approach. What you will not find in many book, that is explicitly not writing the algorithm for the reduction. Okay, not writing the algorithms for the reduction. So I'll be trying to explain with all those 4 steps, because many proofs which are there in the book, author uses their own style to do that. Maybe this is the 3 SAT NP complete problem, yeah, which is I supposed to explain. I'm not explaining because it is not explaining in 4 steps. We'll be trying to explain in terms of the 4 steps to all the problems. We'll be always using these 4 steps to prove that the problems to be NP complete. Okay. So this will continue. Maybe I need couple of classes, so that it will be. I mean, I'll be in a position to explain you 3 to 4 theorems. And I'll be sharing those materials with you. In addition to that, few exercise problems which might help you to practice. So any question, or we'll proceed to more problem. And you remember, in almost all the proofs, the step number 3 is the biggest one. Step number is the biggest one, or you can have a more arguments in step number 3. And step number 1, 2, and step number 4 is always simple, always simple. So sometimes it will be easy if things has to be a lot of a blackboard business, so things are easy to present, but without whiteboard features, I mean without the accessory, it always difficult for us. Okay, any other query from you? Because this is sometimes a bit of harder portion for the people. I'll prefer not to discuss many problems in a single go. At least these 2 things you prepare complete a 01 knapsack problem and a TSP. Okay, and another thing, the reduction process, which typically that how this Hamiltonian circuit is proved to be NP complete. So treating this as in terms of a SAT reference, which is nothing but a circuit with and OR gates. So this is a node A. We have the EA and AB. So node A, EA is incoming, AB is outgoing. But if you look into the B, 1 incoming, 2 and 3 incoming edges, 1 outgoing edges. So we represent the B like this. We represents the B like this. Okay. So node A is like this and we represents the B like this. The complete statement shows that we are using and OR operation. Then we try to argue that in a circuit satisfiability we have AND gate, NOT gate, or gate. So this is again transformed. You see the reducibility. You try to represent all the nodes, and you are transforming this problem into a circuit satisfiability problem. It will be reduced to a problem which is called circuit satisfiability problem. And if you look into this reduction process, because you are working on a graph with set of vertex and edges, and if the graph is represented using adjacency matrix, then you need to visit all the n square entries, because the value of the edges can be obtained within the matrix. So that is a polynomial bound. I mean, this translation process, when we are writing like this, it takes a polynomial time. That is the reason we can prove that when we want to transform this to satisfiability, and existing problem is required to be proved. So this is one way to talk about the type of reduction when we say uh, by applying the local replacement, when we try to divide the instances of the input and you try to get the new representation of the problem. Okay. And this cycle, when to select which NP complete problem will be referred. That means if you are in a knapsack, you can refer to this subset sum. When you are in a TSP, you refer to the Hamiltonian cycle. These two things you can say one of the major requirement of which is supposed to prepare. So when we'll be going for the proving the 0-1 knapsack problem or knapsack problem will be NP complete, we'll be using the subset sum problem. So one thing I can request you to try to get all the mathematical problem statements which is available on this slide. That means statement for circuit side, then circuit side you may not get on the statement, but this onwards you need a mathematical model statement for that. Okay, set cover define in terms of vertex side edge, click define in terms of vertex side edges, and subset sum in defined in terms of a given set. Okay, and then you have the number of subsets or the permutation of that. In that you argue there are 2 to the power n number of subsets are there, and out of which you have to select a particular subset. Okay, so that's all from my side. Maybe we are. I think. Do you have any class tomorrow at 9 a.m.? Any classes scheduled? Hello. Any
No,
classes
sir.
scheduled? Okay.
No, sir.
So we are meeting tomorrow. At least this I say the 2 complete cases for 0-1 knapsack problem and TSP. These two is to be complete in nature. Maybe the same TSP will look into genetic algorithm. The same 0-1 knapsack we are moving into genetic algorithm, so that you can have a feel how the paradigm wise you have a different representation. And this is of course a theoretical exercise to prove the problem to be NP complete. Okay. So that's all for today. Maybe your new semester starts from Monday. Okay. Is it starting from Monday or maybe it is deferred? Registrations are over. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Registration is over. Huh? Okay. So, okay, you join for those subjects, and for these at least you spare 2 to 3 extra classes so that I'll have a satisfaction, because I found it a little bit of advantage in pandemic because we we try to cover up I think in a much better way in comparison to regular classes in terms of these problems. Okay. ठीक है. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll close the class then. Thank you. If you have any query, you can put me directly mail to that, or anything requirement. I remember few materials which I have to post it. I have not posted the dynamic hashing portion, but one portion which I had a plan, but on that is on the data structure actually. We'll see depending on the schedule how it goes, but we'll complete from my side. There will be approximation algorithm 2, that is for TSP also, and the proofs of NP complete at least for 0-1 knapsack is left, and I'll try to take 1 or 2 other problem also. And in case of the heap, we used to cover there are few special heaps which might be required in some problem. Okay, but I'll give you, I mean, the what heaps you supposed to know little bit, because if you are designing a greedy algorithm, the complexity will change depending on the different type of heap. So if you want to refer to that, it's a may not be say your exam requirement. You please refer to the Sahani book. You have min max heap, diffs, a double-ended heap, leftist tree, binomial heap, and Fibonacci heap. So these are the heap variants which I feel a computer science student should know. Okay. Okay, thank you then.